Well, hey, folks, welcome back once again to Untitled Africa. This is Chris coming to you live from central Pennsylvania. No, not central Ohio. I'm back in Pennsylvania. You may remember last week in a very interesting and somewhat bizarre technological achievement. We did manage to get a stream going with Braam von Straaten, former Springbok and Southern Kings coach, and now involved with the recent Bermuda Tens. It was quite an epic event. Braam had a hard time getting on. We finally got him on about halfway through the program, then we went the program a bit longer. But I was in a hotel and I could not get things to work properly. I eventually did get them working properly, but that was after that stream. So what we wound up doing is I talked to him with my mobile, and I projected my mobile looking at the camera at the screen, so you could hear me talking in the background like a discombobulated voice and no body, and you saw Braam on the screen. So there you go. Well, today we're going to follow up with a proper discussion and conversation with Braam von Straaten, and we're going to talk about a little bit about rugby in general. We'll talk about the Tens, maybe even delve a little bit into, I don't know how much he knows about the women's game, but we just had the women's draw for the 2021 World Cup in New Zealand, so we'll probably talk a little bit about that if he's game for that. Anyway, folks, let me welcome my guest in here, a wonderful human being and a great person to have a conversation with, Braam von Straaten. There he is right there. Hey, Braam, how's it?
Hi, Chris. Good to send them. Yeah, it's been an eventful week. So yeah, it's been good. Luckily, now I'm back home with my mom. So I'm visiting her in Great Brook River down south. So it's really good. Thanks for having me.
No, it's a pleasure having you back. And well, let's get right into my excuse for asking you to come back on, which was a legitimate excuse, but it gave me a good reason to get you back on so quickly. You're involved with this effort called Care for Kings, Care, the number 4, Kings.co.za, I think is the full thing. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now this is to let people know the Southern Kings rugby franchise was unceremoniously and rather suddenly, from the perspective of staff and players, went into liquidation, bankruptcy in September. I think September 19th was the date or thereabouts, and caught everybody off guard.
Yes, it was not a nice time. I think for some of the players, I still think they struggle to get back on their feet. But yeah, it was just one of those things that happened, and all of a sudden, I found myself doing a little video saying that we're definitely not going to stand. We're definitely going to stand our ground. We're not going to go away, and we will definitely ask some questions. And what has been incredible about Care for Kings is how many people has come together to assist us in getting funds and doing a memorabilia auction. And as we talk now, there's a wine auction going on on www.careforkings.co.za. So it's been amazing. It's been a bit of a roller coaster ride. I've had a really interesting week down in the Cape. I went down there to go and collect all the wines and get all the Springbok boys to sign it, and some old Springboks. So an incredible eventful week. Such incredible people that I've known, but again showing their hearts to the Care for Kings campaign, and that was fantastic.
Hank has just put the link in there, Care for Kings. Thank you very much, Hank. Appreciate that. Hank is up in the UK, so thank you for putting it in there, Hank. So I just have this one very serious question. You're an honest, straightforward guy, but did any of the bottles of wine fall off the truck on the way home? I'm just saying.
No, I had a really good ride. I had to go really slow because my little Polo Cross was on the 2 back wheels all the way from Cape Town to Mossel Bay, close to the Great Brook River, close to Mossel Bay. But yeah, it was a really good ride. Just such a satisfactive couple of days for me. Sometimes you go out there, you're trying to campaign to raise some funds, and sometimes you go, wow, it's actually quite hard work, but wow, it's so rewarding. Just the amount of smiles, the amount of congratulations and pats on the back, and says, well done, keep on going. We really stand for what you're fighting for, and that's amazing, and that gives me more energy to do this for a long time.
Yeah, no, I think it was and see, this is the thing. It's great when you speak multiple languages, you realize that sometimes that phrases don't get across. But that's kind of at least an American euphemism when I say, "Did anything fall off the back of the truck? Did anybody take a few bottles?" Is what I was getting at.
Well, as we're sitting here now, all the wine bottles is in my mum's living room at the moment, so it's stacked here. There's some really good ones here. Let me have a look one. Yeah, this is a a very special bottle, yeah. One that Peter Steff, the toy, signed. So there's some really quality wines. This is a Magnum, quite nice and big, 1.5 liter. So yeah, this will definitely don't go to waste.
Okay. Well, I've definitely got to get on the site, like I said, if I win any of the auction, you guys are gonna have to hold this stuff for me till I get over there for a visit. But because the shipping cost will just eat us both alive. But no, that's awesome. I was about to ask you, but before I ask the question, let me continue on a little bit. So just explain, and then you can tell people further in detail. But Care for Kings is an effort to raise funds to help the players and staff. And people often forget about the staff. I mean, people who work for franchise that run around taking care of things, the physios, the folks who clean the locker rooms, the folks who do the staff work, the planning, the scheduling, the travel, and all that. So it's for the players and staff to raise money because, like over 3 million other South Africans, they were just caught in the lurch with no employment and just kind of like dumped on the street, essentially. And that's kind of the situation they found themselves in. So that's kind of what it's all about. Is that correct?
Yes, Chris. I mean, we've got 52 families that's been affected. We've had numerous guys got other opportunities. Some of the guys went with me to Bermuda as well, 12 guys. So yes, we've still got a large portion of probably 31 people that hasn't been paid since the 19th of September. But as we're doing these fundraisers, we'll make a payment. It's not a lot of money, but at least they know that there's a little bit of hope and that we can help them through this difficult period, and hopefully we will be able to assist them until they get something else. And that's our hearts, and hopefully, and not hopefully, we're definitely going to go on with Care for Kings. There's some big things that are happening in the background as well. We're definitely gonna do a proper thing with this, and may long it continue.
Well, I was going to say that, Braam, I didn't know where you're going with this, but I'm just a suggestion, a humble suggestion on my end. I mean, we don't know what the future holds, but I mean, who knows? Maybe there'll be another Kings franchise sometime in the future, or and whatever the case is. But even whether it is or isn't, maybe at some point after helping out the players and staff, it becomes something helps out local kids or local charities, or builds the sport of rugby in the Eastern Cape. I don't know, just some suggestions out there. I mean, it sounds like you've got something useful and helpful going, and there's lots of good purpose for it after it serves this value.
No, definitely, Chris. I think that in the long run, hopefully we can make big steps and make big differences in these people's lives. Not only the people of the Kings at the moment that has gone through the liquidation, but everyone in the community of the Eastern Cape. That is my heart, and hopefully we can get to that. So yes, there's some project that will run side by side with Care for Kings, and yeah, hopefully. No, I can't say hopefully. It's definitely going to happen. We definitely going to make a massive difference in the lives of these people. This is for me not just the players and staff, but everybody in the Eastern Cape, so that we can at least bring a little bit of hope where people see no hope, where we can engage with people on different levels to be able to support them throughout their campaigns and whatever they want to do. So hopefully, and again, not hopefully, we're definitely going to be able and hopefully be in a position to do that in the near future. And yeah, that will be an incredible story to tell. So yeah, definitely really, really happy where we are. And just want to thank all the people that get involved, people like you that gave us some airtime and got the story out there. So yes, we are very blessed in that regard, and long may it continue, as I say.
Well, no, it's not a problem at all. Listen, as I said before, Braam, I'm really glad that one of my viewers pestered me about getting you on. Really, really pestered me, and I said, look, I don't know the guy. I mean, you got to give me some contact, and I'm not even sure the person actually knew you that well. I think they just might have kind of cold contacted you, and then gave me the information, and then you were more than happy to come on. So it's my pleasure. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. But listen, this is a little bit fulfilling for me and rewarding from the standpoint that. The fact that we had you on the program, talked about Care for Kings, and even in some small way, Hank Klopper, who put the link up for Care for Kings, also one of my moderators and longtime member of the channel. Hank said, I got some really nice memorabilia from the auction. So there you go. At least one of our viewers actually participated in the auction, raising some money. So that's just awesome. Really good to hear.
Yeah, so like I said, we will have a couple of engagement with online auctions. There will be the one that's busy now is the wine auction, and that'll continue until tomorrow night at 8:00. Then if there's some disputes and people are still bidding, they will go on for another hour. So that's really good. And then next weekend, because of COVID, we actually had to stop our golf day that we would have done. We would have done that on Thursday. But with COVID in the Eastern Cape, we don't want to put anybody at jeopardy, so we are postponing that to the first or the last week in January. But our memorabilia auction will go again, and then when after that I've met some incredible people in the Cape Winelands, and put up another couple of things, and brought some more people to the table, and they are so happy to assist us in what we try to achieve. So there will be some big announcements in the next 2 weeks of some other things that we are starting to do, just because people really show their hearts to us and really open their hands and keep on giving. So we are very blessed in this regard at the moment.
That's awesome. I'm gonna risk my Afrikaans pronunciation here. Jaco Rademeyer, whom I don't think I've seen in a long time on the channel. Welcome back, Jaco. Says, "Hallo Braam, hoe gaan dinge?" So how are things? You've already answered that question, but then he said, I don't know who Lewis is, but he said, "Het Sam Ball gespielt in later Sam Lewis." Who's Lewis? Does that make any sense to you?
Lewis, I hope it's Lewis, the guy that I've just that we engaged with and had on our team with the Phoenix, Lewis Berg. He is a top individual. One of the toughest young men I've ever met in my life. I think when I look at him and the way he plays and the way he goes about his stuff, it feels like me. I'm looking at. So it's a really good guy that brings the spirit, that brings the energy to every training session, and it was so wonderful to have him in Bermuda with us. I really enjoyed it. He's a good kid.
No, that's awesome. So yeah, I just want to make sure my Afrikaans pronunciation wasn't that horrible, but maybe it was. Ella Blue de Beer is in the chat and says, "Will you address the unruly behavior of the EFF at a later stage?" Yeah, I will, Ella. But not for this stream. This is about rugby, and the initial topic here is Care for Kings, which we're talking about. I did have a 4-hour stream, nearly 4-hour stream this morning, covering events at Brockenfell in the Western Cape. We'll talk more about that in a later stream, but not today, most likely because I have a congressional candidate on my later stream today. But I will do prepared video. So thank you for asking, Ella, but that's not the topic for this conversation. So, but you're welcome to stay, and thank you for joining us. So Care for Kings, you have Springboks who are helping out, and I just saw a bottle that I covet now. It's covet's not really probably the best thing to do, but I covet that bottle. It has Peter Steph du Toit's signature on it. One of my all-time favorite players, and of course, World Rugby Player of the Year most recently, and just a solid. Stop everything coming at him Rugby World Cup. He had a brilliant Rugby World Cup and a great year across the board. So that's awesome to see him do it. Who else, if you can share with us, is autograph some of these bottles so we can drum up some interest and maybe drive up the prices for the auction?
Yeah, I just want to come back to Peter Steph du Toit. He's not just a good rugby player, but what an individual he is. He's such a good man, such a good heart. When I went there, yesterday morning, I drove to their farm, pick up some bottles, and then drove back to Val de Vie, one of the estates in Nepal. And he opened me with arms and signed the bottles for me, and also did a little video for us to create some awareness. So really top bloke. I really hats off to him. Those are the boys that you want guys to help, and we're very blessed. But there's been some old Springboks signing these bottles as well. Some of my big mates, David Barry, who was an international centre, played for the Boks for I think 39 tests. Then there was the big name, Corne Krieger, captain South Africa, also played 39 tests. And then there was the 100, the centurion, Jean de Villiers, captain of the Boks, that also signed he not just signed some bottles. He said, "I'll give you a signed Jean de Villiers jersey, the test that they won the Tri-Nations in 2004, and he signed it for me and gave it to me." So it's been incredible. Then there was Charles Marais, who was my roommate. We knew each other like brothers. He signed a couple of bottles, and there was Brayton Polser, Kobus Wiese, the big man himself. He got me halfway at Hoogpass, close to Cape Town, close to Bottervier. He got me there and stopped at a little market there, and he signed some bottles for me there. So I tell you now, it was so rewarding. And then the other guys that signed was all the main Springboks that played in the World Cup final from province. Steven Kitstoff, the Herschel Yankees, Damien Willemse. So the list just goes on and on and on. So Frans Malherbe, who's an incredible individual who also did a lot of stuff for us in our first auction, so hats off to all these boys that came to the party and signed some bottles for us.
Wow, look, I'm so envious now. I'm like wishing. I wish I could have been there just to help carry. I mean, first off, you're driving around wine estates. That's always a fun experience. But you're actually talking to people that run them and actually are living on them, not just rocking up to do a wine tasting, which is very different. That had to be a lot of fun. But then also just running all these older Springboks, and then plus the guys from Western Cape who played. You just run off some names there. Jean de Villiers. I was at the World Cup in 2015 against Samoa and I was literally 30 meters away when his jaw got broken. I was heartbroken. Probably not as disappointed as Jean de Villiers was, but he had a fantastic career. But just so unfortunate all the injuries that piled up on him. But what an amazing guy. He's always seemed like quite the gentleman, too. I really enjoyed his career and wish it had gone on for another 30 or 40 tests at the Springbok level, because it was really a treat to watch on the pitch, and I really liked him. But I was there at that game when his jaw broke, and my heart just jumped in my chest, because you knew something was wrong.
Yeah, Chris, he's such a good individual. When I met him in Paarl, I said to him, please, can you just sign a couple of bottles? And he said, no, let's go to my house. It's just up the road. Took me there, gave me a coffee, signed the bottles, and then signed the shirt. But then he went the extra yard and said, how can we get all these Springboks to sign it? And he got me in touch with Chippy Solomon, who's the manager of Western Province and the Stormers. And Chippy when I phoned Chippy, he said, bring it. As I arrived there, unpacking all the boxes and wine, within 5 minutes, all the bottles were signed and sealed, and all of a sudden I could leave. No, it was just incredible the way that they invite me into their space, which I really, really, I appreciate so much. But it was incredible just to see they actually understand what we're going through, because it has been a really tough time for the boys and for the staff. But just the expression on their faces told them that they really do care about the boys within their fraternity, within the brotherhood of rugby, the ethos of rugby. We talk about that so many times, but when I did that, and that's why I'm probably still floating. I'm not walking. I'm floating above the earth, just because of all the warm-hearted individuals that I've met. The people within that being in South Africa has gone through a very tough time in the wine industry, but they were so open-handed and giving. And just the way that they welcomed me on their farms was just amazing. So, like I said, it was probably the most inspiring 3 days of my life. It's just incredible of what happened to me. I said to my wife the other night as well, wow, I just can't stop talking about it. I'm overwhelmed with the generosity of the people.
Now, you mentioned Peter Steph du Toit. I saw a brilliant biography that was done on him, a video a year or so ago, I think it was, but really brilliant, talking about his background. And then the reason I'd never heard of him early on is because he didn't go to traditional rugby school. He went to a school in which I think no one had ever risen to become a Springbok from that school. I think he was the first. All of his brothers apparently also play rugby too, so it must be an interesting family. But in that biography, they covered the farm, and they were there, and it's quite a beautiful location. It looks like quite a lovely place. So I'm while I'm wearing a red jersey, I am turning green with envy. That sounds like it was quite the experience.
It was a fantastic experience. So what I did, there's a little video on Care for Kings, if you can find it on the Instagram page that it's my page, Braam van Straaten. If you go and have a look there's a beautiful little video that I made of the farm and where he's done the support for Care for Kings campaign, so it came out really nice, and he gave me the thumbs up, and I posted it on Instagram.
Now that's pretty awesome. So you mentioned those names. These are just iconic names of Springbok rugby. Kobus Wiese. That's a guy that you just see him, you're like, okay, make way, just let this guy pass. He's a big dude.
He's a big man, but I think he's got a bigger heart, and that's what's wonderful about him. I played against him for a number of years, but Kobus is just an incredible individual. There's a bit of an aura hanging around him because of his size as well. But so warm-heartedly, like I said, I'm speechless, man. I can't. Sometimes you think you know people, and then all of a sudden, the way that they respect you, and the mutual respect between each other, and the way they go about it was just unbelievable. Like I said, I'm a big fan of all these boys. They are incredible individuals, good people, and yes, they weren't too bad rugby players as well.
I was just trying to get this to play, but my browser's not cooperating with me. So what I'll do is I'll put the link into your Instagram to get people. Is the one we're talking about where you're standing and the vineyard's over your shoulder? You're standing with kind of like
that's the one. But the other one is where Peter Steph du Toit. You will see it starts off with a farm, Kloofenburg, and it is really, really good. It's such a nice little video, and just he's not so fluent in English because he's such an Afrikaans boy out of the Swartland, close to Rebecca, in Rebecca Steel. And he did it without a blink. He said, I will do it for you. And that's the support that these boys are giving us. I'm really overwhelmed by their support.
No, it's pretty amazing stuff. And yeah, I've always wondered that about Peter Steph du Toit. With his English ability, because he seems like a quiet guy anyway, but I don't know. I got the impression that maybe that he wasn't always particularly comfortable being interviewed or speaking in English, and so he's a little more quiet and reserved. Is that a fair statement, you think?
Yeah, I think so, but it just shows you getting people. Well, we are out of our comfort zone by a country mile, and he comes on and gives me a little video. It takes him out of his comfort zone, and that's what it's all about, because it's not about anything else. It's about his heart. He's got an incredible heart for people and for everybody that's been affected, and that shows your true character. For me, that's more valuable than being a good rugby player. And yeah, like I said, that those are the things that I've met and weighed up in the last couple of days. So yeah, I've managed to sleep a couple of hours, and so hopefully the wine auction goes really well. I do believe that people will definitely enjoy the wines that are there. All of the wines are not all of them, but most of them are Veritas winners, which is a very good prize to get for your wines in the Cape and in South Africa. So yeah, it's incredible to see the generosity of the people.
Well, while not a major wine drinker, I do have appreciation for it. And when it comes to Cape wines, my favorite is the Cape Shiraz. Some really good quality Cape Shiraz coming out of the Western Cape. Good stuff. So if any of those are
not one, you must have really good eyes, because this is a Shiraz as well.
Is it really? I actually did not see that, but oh, it is. Okay, there you go. Cool. I was focused on the top because I look at it said John Smith. I look at John. It was Peter Steph du Toit when you were first spinning around. So I was staring at the top there. But yeah, no, Cape Shiraz, good stuff. Now we've got one of the nice things about this too. When we talk to folks, especially, I always tell people that think about South Africa. Certainly for many communities, because the country is divided into so many different ethnic groups. But when you talk to people, it's almost like old home week. So Ungere Maiburg said Peter Steph is from the same school as me. We are Afrikaans. School Swartland. So there you go. You run into people that know each other. It's really fascinating stuff. I really enjoy that. One of the nice things. I mean, whereas here in the States, there's 330 million of us. The odds of me having a conversation with someone on one of my streams that I went to high school with or I knew is pretty slim. So not likely to happen. But just a little bit more. You did say, if I heard correctly, that Frans Malherbe and also Herschel Yankees signed bottles for you.
Yeah. Like I said, Frans Malherbe, the big man himself, is such a good. He's got a wonderful heart, such a cool demeanor. When he gets on the field, he's a bit of a different beast. But Herschel Yankees was one of them. Damian Willemse, Warwick Galant, Stephen Kitsoff, and I had to ask Kitsi back, and there was the Bongi Munambi. So all these boys were, and then Sia Kolisi entered the room as well, and. So it was grand. It was really something special, and they do it within the flow of things. But it just shows you how the rugby community is intertwined with each other. They know the pressure on rugby as in sport as a world game, and all of a sudden they really show their true colors. So which was fantastic to see.
People are debating about where you're from. DJC Kotsia says Braam is an Affi, and Henk Kloppe says nay, he is was in Wonderboom.
Yeah, so both of them are right.
Exactly. That's why I was chuckling.
I was schooled at Wonderboom, but I was a teacher at Affi. So yeah, I really enjoyed my time at both of them. I still in touch with a couple of friends that I went into matric, grade 12. And then Office was fantastic. I had an awesome time there. One of the best rugby schools in the country. It was just really cool to what a school. Let me tell you, what a school. It is absolutely beautiful. So I really enjoyed my time there.
No, that's absolutely awesome. And see, this is like I said, I just talked about the small town country sort of thing, but also rugby's the same kind of way. I mean, once you make a few connections in rugby, the world can kind of open up to you if you really stick with it and you're interested in it. I mean, I'm absolutely amazed at some of the people I've got to know from around the world. And for me, it started in USA Rugby, and then with some rugby officials, and then from there, kind of grew from there. And it's really an amazing sport that just anybody can get into. And speaking of that, let me shift just a slight gear for a second there, away from Care for Kings. And I don't know if you caught, but yesterday I actually had kind of a snafu. It's a little bit embarrassing for me there, Braam. I'll confess. I saw that the draw was scheduled for the 20th of November. And I'm like, great, I'll live stream and do commentary about the draw for the Women's Rugby World Cup on the 20th of November. But I was so busy doing other things, and I knew that it was in Auckland, but my brain didn't kick in because I know that it's another day in Auckland whenever I'm on. So I scheduled it for today at 1 p.m. my time. It was 1 p.m. yesterday because it was the 20th in New Zealand, but it was the 19th here in Washington, D.C. So I missed it, and Elma Smith was on there along with some others. They had the Prime Minister from New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern, and Dan Carter was present, among others. But so I did miss it, but I did a video. But what I'm getting at is that so they had the draw yesterday, and for the 12 teams, 9 of which are already selected, there's still 3 teams that need to qualify. They're set up for it. But have you ever been involved or watched or have any interest in the women's game?
Yeah, quite interesting. I was when I was the kicking coach for Australia. I did all the kicking for their sevens side, their sevens women's side, and it was so good to see how much talent there was. But yeah, Australia is so blessed because they play that six touch rugby game, and they've got a big league that helps them to produce some wonderful stars. And yeah, I was fortunate to work with the Australian women's sevens side on their kicking skills. So that was a first for me. But I was gobsmacked, like you said, gobsmacked is a good word for us. Gobsmacked to understand and see how talented these girls are. So yeah, it was quite a good experience.
No, the women's side on the sevens for Australia is very good. Consistently, they're very good. It's fun to watch them play. Of course, I go to lots, well, I don't go to lots. I go to the Vegas tournament, which is no longer in Vegas, so I didn't go this year because I went to LA. But I watched them out there when the one year they came out there, but also watch them, on television all the time. They're really talented. But I've also been to the Women's World Cup in 2014 in Paris and then 2017 in Ireland. And I've watched, because many of these same women play on the 15 as well as the sevens. Really talented stuff. Like on the American side for the Eagles, our team is a top team. They finished in the top 4 at the World Cup last time, just missing out on the podium to France in the consolation game. But we have some amazing players like Alev Kelter, who's just unbelievable. Like Stephen Kitsoff, she's a redhead there and just plowing her way through. And then we have Chris Thomas and Nia Tapper. Nia Tapper is just amazing and fast. The women's game is a little different, I think, but it has its appeal, and I think people ought to give it a chance. Not a lot of people seem to be familiar that we even have women's rugby.
Yeah, Chris, for me, I've been so entrenched in the men's game, and I probably in the near future, I think that'll be quite interesting just to look a little bit further down the line and have a look at that as well, because I think it's a game that it's for all sizes, as we know, and a lot of people, and what's incredible about the game, and I think there's some games that has got the same things, but the rugby is just different. I think for the rugby has given me who I am. It's taught me who I am. It's given me all my tools over a period of time, and that's what makes the game so. The character of people are getting to be formed around the game, and for me that is quite interesting. And it's always, if you go and have a look at it, it's always to the good side and not to the bad side. So rugby's got a massive influence on youngsters and communities, and because of the ethos of it and the brotherhood and everything that we spoke about. But yeah, I do believe that the game rugby will go a long way in the women's game. I think it's coming up to speed now. I think a lot more people are following it, and there's some really good interest growing around the world. So I'm definitely one of those guys that will put my hand up. I don't know a lot about it, but as you say now, the World Cup drawn has been done, and definitely I'll definitely have a look and enjoy some of the games, as you say, and especially looking out for the American side.
Well, that's awesome. If we get you to be an American fan, that'd be great. Because me being a Springbok fan, being an American, that's the other way around. But so, folks, you're listening to Chris White Africa on the Indaba Africa channel. This is Chris live from Central Pennsylvania with my special featured guest, once again, the very generous Braam van Straaten, who is with us, former Springbok, well-known coach for the Sharks, also for the Southern Kings, and is now also involved in tens, an exciting game we're going to talk about here shortly. But before we get to that, Braam, I got to say that when I first started talking about covering rugby on this channel, I did my segment Rugby Ascended early days a few months back. I got a lot of flack from a lot of South Africans. Women don't play rugby, certainly not in South Africa. Well, guess what? 2 new debutantes in the next World Cup next year, Fiji women and South Africa. The South African women have qualified and will be participating in the Rugby World Cup for the first time in history. That should be exciting and maybe get some more exposure for the women's game in South Africa.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, as you say, it will be their first time, and it's fantastic to come in as an underdog. Will be a good thing. But I think the people that are looking after the women's game are very capable in South Africa, and hopefully they will do really that. They will make us proud. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
No, it should be pretty awesome. I'm also pretty excited about to see them out there. I've seen the Sevens team because they were at the Sevens World Cup in San Francisco, and they were okay. But I'm looking forward to seeing the 15s because I've never seen the South African women's 15s because, of course, they're not going to be covered on television and not going to be shown outside the country most likely. So looking forward to that. It should be fascinating to watch all those guys come out there. But, yeah, good stuff. Well, let's shift a little bit there, Braam, and talk about the Bermuda 10s, if you don't mind. So we talked about this in the interview last time, and let me just do a little bit of a setup, and I'll let you go with it from there. But this tournament, which you mentioned to me before you went there, you said, hey, you were asked late in the game to get involved in this to help get this team going, and it turned out to be the Phoenix team that went out there. And no, not Phoenix, Arizona, but this is Phoenix like the rising sun, so it seems like an apropos term or name for the team. And they went out there and participated in the inaugural Bermuda 10s tournament. And it was kind of strange because you couldn't have spectators for the first couple weekends because of the corona restrictions in Bermuda. But then at the end, you did have a limited number of people, and it kind of added an element to the game having some spectators there. But quite an interesting tournament with lots of players from 15s and from 7s. Dan Norton playing for the London Royals. Ben Foden, of course, former England national side player on the 15 side, but now plays for Rugby United New York, my favorite Major League Rugby franchise. And you also had Dylan Fawcett from USA Eagles playing out there. And then we saw Cecil Africa, who had retired from the 7s, and there he was out there playing. But you got involved with this team, went out there, and there's some very interesting rules and different aspects of it. There's 10 guys to a side. There's 10 minutes to a half, and which is a bit longer than 7s and not nearly as long as the full 15. But I can imagine if there's 10 of you and it's 10 minutes, that's got to get tiring because you get 15-40. That's tiring enough. But anyway, so that's a little bit different. And then there's a thing called Jeopardy with the kicking, and it's you're going to have to talk to us about that. And also, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag here, folks. Braam is not just another oak out there. I mean, he actually got involved in the tournament and put his mark on history for this inaugural tournament. So that's a lot to unpack. But just tell us a little bit about the 10s and how you got involved and your thoughts.
Yeah, Chris, it was a whirlwind. I still thought it was a dream. We got the word from Dick Meir, who gave the opportunity to us at the Kings and to the boys to be able to go to the inaugural Bermuda 10s, which was fantastic. I had 4 days to plan everything to get 12 guys there. The other guys we met there, but it was incredible. It was just one of those things that should have happened, and everything just fell so nicely into place. So I still can't imagine how quickly we did it. But yeah, we got to Bermuda, and we were the first. I think we got tested when we arrived there. We were 1 day in complete lockdown. and then then we could get out of our rooms. But they're so efficient. So on day 4 they test us again, on day 8 they test us again, on day 14 test us again, and within I think it was 12, 13 hours you get your results back, and that was brilliant. So all of a sudden we could get along. We first 8 days on the island was just a blur, because the boys went all over. They explored the island, because we had to early training sessions late in the afternoon, so they could get up nice and early, early or later, and have a breakfast, and then have the whole day for themselves. And then we have a training session in the afternoon when it's a little bit cooler. So yeah, it was fantastic. The organizers did such a good job to put it together within the COVID time. Hats off to them. They were brilliant. The way they run the whole thing was absolutely brilliant. Coming back to more interesting on the games, talking about it is quite tough, because all of a sudden you've got 7 stars that can run around, but you also got these 15 stars that wants to make it a little bit more physical. And that's what we went to. We said we're definitely going to take them on physical, because we weren't 7 stars. We didn't have any 15s, but we had a really good group. That was a number of very tough customers that just kept on fighting and fighting and fighting. We stayed in the fight in every game, which was fantastic to see. And then coming back to the kicking jeopardy, which was quite an interesting rule, where if you score a try, you can decide where you want to kick from. 1 point straight in front of the poles, really close, against the wind, which was in Bermuda the wind was pumping at some stages, and you take the 1 pointer. But then you had the 2 pointers on the 15s and on the 22, and then you had the 3 pointers, which is quite a difficult kick on the 15s, but on the 10s, and then there's one right in the middle at halfway that gives you 5 points. So for a try, if you do it right, you can get 10 points per try. And all of a sudden, it changed the way that people think and the way that people play the game, because you are one try or one score from actually leading, being 9 points behind. So that was very interesting. And eventually, like you said, something happened, and I put my name in the history books, because I was the first guy, at the age of 49, to kick a penalty goal in professional rugby, and the first penalty goal that was kicked in the tournament. So to actually get rid of the Rhinos and beat them in the quarterfinals. The first time in my life that I've beaten my old mate, who was the coach of the Rhinos, Reno Combrink. So I was very happy. Sad for him, because they were one of the favorites to win the whole thing, because they won the inaugural one right in the beginning when we arrived in Bermuda. So yeah, it was an absolute incredible couple of days. I have to say, probably the best day or night that we had was the night on the boat. The boat's name was Good Vibrations, and I tell you now, I think we even excelled more than that. But yeah, it was an incredible number of incredible boys coming from 6 different or 7 different nations, just gelling together, because for us there wasn't any expectations, but it was such a great environment for everybody to bring their part to the table, and it was unbelievable. I tell you now, just getting back some messages today of how the boys enjoyed each other's company. We still got the group, the live group of the Phoenix, and that group won't die, I think.
No, it sounds like an absolutely incredible experience, and I think I might want to book my ticket for Bermuda for the next one, because we'll presume that the Wuhan coronavirus, COVID-19, will be a thing of the past, or at least under control, however authorities decide control is, and you'll be able to have spectators, and that should be interesting. But there's a comment, just a second. Excuse me. There's a comment over here by Grant Rothman. He says, where's it at? Oh, yeah. A try should be 5 and a penalty 1. I hate rugby because they play for 3 points. I get the sentiment, Grant, but that's definitely not the case in the sevens games, because most sevens guys can't kick for beans. But I get the sentiment. I don't know if I agree with it, Grant, but yeah, I appreciate where you're coming from. But this game was very interesting because of this Jeopardy thing. it doesn't matter where you score the try. I mean, in rugby, it's always, and I know that Mike Friday for the Eagles, the coach, he gets so inflamed when his players get excited about breaking away for a try in sevens, and they just run right to the corner. And we're like, the fans, and I know Mike Friday can see him, run under the post. There's no one near you, because now you got to kick this thing from way over there. And of course, those points make a difference in whether you continue the tournament. But it definitely changes the game in some respects, doesn't it, Braam? The way that you can pick up an extra 5 points, as much as 5 points to add to the try.
No, definitely, Chris. But the guy that you said that said he doesn't like kicking is his name Grant.
It is Grant Rothman.
Well, Grant, then I would have been out of a job, because I was a kicking fly off inside centre. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, I tell you now, kicking is so much part of the game, because if you think about defenses these days, how strong they are and how difficult it is to break it down. If you look at New Zealand, they play a very expansive game, but their kicking has gone to the next level, because I'm a firm believer, if the space is available, take the space, because territory in the game, it will never change. You have to make sure that you play territory to be able to get yourself in positions to be able to put teams under pressure, either to put them in the corner and go for a driving maul, or being able to put them under pressure and kick the goal. And then again, I believe kicking will never go out of the game. So Grant, I think my friend will come to the tens, man. There's 5 points for a conversion, which is fantastic.
No, it was unbelievable just watching that. It's and also it puts a lot of strategy into the game too, because it's not so much strategy when you're scoring a try. When in 15s, sometimes you just get across wherever you can get across, because you're just trying to break that defense. But in sevens, oftentimes you get a breakaway and you're all by yourself, and guys forget, and then they kind of mess up, and then you don't get the point. You don't get the conversions. But in this game, it really doesn't make a difference. I noticed in a lot of the games, teams would go for the 2-point conversion initially. But then if they found themselves behind and they had the wind at their back, they would take a bigger risk and take that chance. Only a few teams I saw really would jump at the opportunity to try to go for that 5-pointer, but a couple did, and it paid off for them.
Yeah, definitely. I think if one of the young kickers, what's his name? His surname is Ben Seema. Yeah. Really prolific striker of the ball that plays in the MRL.
MLR,
yeah, MLR. He's a really good striker of the ball. We had an engagement. The one day he lost a kickoff against Matt Turner. Mm-hmm. And I said to him, Ben, you're such an incredible kicker. Maybe we can have a little a think tank and sort out 1 or 2 problems. And he was so open to it. So that's why I take my hat off to some of these youngsters, that they are still teachable. They still want to learn, which is fantastic to see. And yeah, we had a kicking session one day after their training session, and he was kicking really, really well in the last 2 days. So yeah, hats off to them. And like I said, it's incredible to see how much a really good kicker can do to a side. As a player and as a kicker, my confidence went through the roof as a player because I was kicking really well. And those are the things that people might not see in the background.
Well, I went to a Tri-Nations match in Bloemfontein in 2009, and that was my introduction to Mornay Sten. And he scored every single point that day. I think he got a try, and then the rest were all conversions. It just shows the importance of a good kicker. And he didn't miss anything. He was kicking from all over the place, and it was I became a big fan. Now, hopefully Mornay doesn't see this stream, but as I've told people, one of the challenges, because I don't think he was a particularly strong defender early in his career. He seemed almost like I could have pushed past him, but no, I'm just saying, no criticism. But he was a brilliant kicker, and then he wasn't picked for all the book squads after he'd done so well. He would be far and away the highest scoring Springbok ever if he'd been picked by certain coaches who didn't pick him up. To me, is a bit of disappointment, but especially because I would say that as his career progressed, he became a quality defender, and he played the game, I think, all around comprehensively. And it was really good to watch him. Not when I say was, he's still playing. He's playing for the Bulls now, and I was kind of excited to see him come back to South Africa because that's some good stuff. But that was the day that I really, really, truly gained a deep appreciation for just how important a kicker is. I mean, you watch the game, you know it's important, But you realize that this is the only person that scored in the game. Now, it's not just because of him. Obviously, they got penalties, which put in position other players in the team. And he obviously didn't run down the field all by himself. There were offloads and there was recycling of the ball, and that's how he scored. But it just really shows the importance of a kicker. So you got to appreciate the kicker. And I'm with you, Braam. I think it'll always be part of the game. The part of the game that drives me nuts is the European style where they're always kicking the ball for position advantage, and it's like back and forth, and we gain 2 meters, they gain 5 meters. Please just crash the line.
Yeah, I think the game has changed. I think you saw South Africa as well in the World Cup, how important it is to be able to put pressure on the opposition. And again, with the Gary Owen, as I knew it as from a youngster, the up and unders, or the box kick from the 9. They force you into certain areas, so it's very strategic that you if you kick really well and you can get man and ball, or you can really put them under pressure, it takes so much of their attack away, because it's so difficult to start your attack on the back foot. And all of a sudden, this is why teams like Munster and Ulster has got an incredible valuable kicking game. But if you have a look at Exeter, which also plays in the Northern Hemisphere, they've just got a different mindset. They like a ball in hand mindset, which is incredible. And all of a sudden, they were the champions of Europe, and also they won the British or the Premiership, which is incredible to see. So where they come from a number of years ago, as a second division side, and being able to put 2 trophies in 1 year together is unbelievable. So yes, hats off to them.
Yeah, there's some interesting comments coming in here in the chat on the side. Yeah, and I agree with you. Listen, when you talk about the kicking, it's something that always bothered me. And here's the irony. During the Rugby World Cup, a lot of South African Springbok fans were complaining about Faf de Klerk, when actually I was enjoying his box kicks. I think that what he did in the World Cup was brilliant. And really, I mean, I don't usually care for those things, but in the World Cup, he by and large did a great job and really put the Springboks in great position to actually gain territory and actually steal the ball away on those kicks. It was good to see. But of course, Faf de Klerk is like a Tasmanian devil. That guy, man, he'll try to take on Cobus Visa. He'll try to tackle him. I'm like, dude, that guy's big. He's everywhere. It's just, I think it must be like Samson. The strength comes in his golden locks.
Yes, I've known Faf for a long time. I've met him when he was a youngster at the Lions, I think in 2009, 10 and 11. Yeah, he's just a tough young man. And what has been so great is to see just standing his ground and taking people on, because that's what rugby is about. If you don't stand your ground, people are going to walk all over you. But Faf is, like you say, a little terrier that doesn't go away. And I think he had a big role. He played a big role in us winning the World Cup, and yeah, I think he's still playing some really good rugby at Sale in the Northern Hemisphere, which is good to see. Yeah, and he's a good guy as well. I've known him for a long time, so yeah, he's a good kid.
No, absolutely. I mean, of course, I'm biased. Fourie du Preez will always be, top drawer for me in that role. He was just brilliant at it. I mean, and he just looked like he wasn't even trying out there. I mean, it was just so effortless when he was on the pitch. But Faf really sold me, and it wasn't just Faf. I mean, Herschel Yankees. I mean, this was just amazing. We had a great trio playing back there. But this World Cup was amazing in so many ways. And speaking of terriers and people that take anybody on, what about Cheslin Colby? My goodness, that guy. It's, dude, you're supposed to be running fast, not taking out these massive hookers that are twice your size, but he doesn't back down. He was amazing in the World Cup too, just taking on people. It was a fun World Cup to watch, and especially watching it from the front lines there in Japan. I really enjoyed it. It was amazing watching these guys play.
Yeah, so for just coming back to Fourie du Preez, what's quite interesting, he was in grade 10. Mm-hmm. That's when I was at office. So I've known him for a very long time as a schoolboy. He was already as good as you know. He was already as good as at the age of 16.
Wow!
But yeah, he's a very talented guy. I've known him for, like I said, for a very long time. And he's not just a talented rugby player; he's also a very talented golfer. Him and Victor Matfield the other day won the Super Sport Invitational, which is quite interesting. So yeah, he played on the last day in quite severe winds. He played a 2 under par 70 on Pearl Valley, which is unheard of. So yeah, it's quite interesting to see what a good sportsman Fourie du Preez is. Sorry, and just getting back to your question, can you just I've jumped off the line there. So if you just go back to your initial question.
Honestly, I jumped off the line too. I forgot which that original question was. It's fine. We'll probably come back to it there. I was less a question and more just sharing and kind of get your thoughts on it, and if you share them there. So I think we've covered that. But listen, I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to pull the host prerogative, and I'm going to have to I'm going to have to pull my Springbok connection card, because Victor Matfield and I have been doing the dance. Someone put me in touch with him, and he agreed to come on the program. But he's an incredibly busy guy, with their business, and also every time I get in touch with him, it's like every 5 days we have a conversation on WhatsApp, and then we never get it scheduled. But I hadn't even thought about asking Fourie du Preez to come on the channel. I may have to see if I can't get Braam to reach out to Victor and Fourie for me. But no commitment there, no obligation, no expectation. I'm just sharing it. Some stray voltage thoughts coming out of the head there. Anyway.
No, I think Fourie will definitely do it. He's now also a little bit involved with the Bulls. I think Jake White pulled him closer to work with the nines and the tens. So yeah, it looks like he might get back into a small coaching role. But yeah, he's just a clever player that I think if you lose all that intellectual property, it won't be good. So yeah, it's good to have him involved in a certain way in South African rugby.
Well, there were a few questions. Let me get a few comments and then a couple questions here. One was a question for a long time ago, which I didn't get to, and I'll get to now. And then ones came more recently. But DJC Kotsia said, Braam invested a lot into the future of SA rugby on and off the field. And then he says, I'm just assuming from this, I missed that red BMW next to the rugby field. I'm guessing you must have had a BMW at some point.
My word, that was I have to tell you the story about this BMW. It was quite interesting. I got sponsored the BMW, and then the people that sponsored the car got liquidated, and I had to take the car on myself. But it was such a big car, and I never thought, okay. So all of a sudden things went quite pear-shaped, and I had to pay. And what happened is I was sitting at the bank manager to pay this thing off and trying to get a loan, and my phone rang next to me, and I looked at my phone and I say to the bank manager, sorry, man, I don't want to be rude, but can I take just this? He said, no, you're more than welcome. And on the other side of the phone was a guy called Nick Mallet. He said, Braam van Straaten, sorry, this is Nick Mallet. Franco Smith has pulled his hamstring. When can he be in Cape Town? And I said to the bank manager, just wait a second. I'll speak to you in a couple of weeks' time. And that was it. So all of a sudden, things went totally the other way around. And yeah, I become a Springbok and played for the Springboks. And yeah, the red BMW was history.
Isn't it interesting what people remember? That's fascinating. So this was a question from a long time ago, probably about 30 minutes ago. So my apologies for not getting to it sooner. It's a good question, but I think we know the answer. And if I'm wrong about the answer, I'll be surprised. But someone asked earlier. They said, "So, what are your thoughts if ever offered the opportunity to be a coach with the Springboks? Would you take it on?"
That will always be something in the back of my mind. As a kicking coach or as a head coach, yeah, I've got big dreams. That's one thing. I've always dreamed big, and I'm chasing my dreams as I'm sitting here, because part of this dream is the journey that life takes you on, and for me, that is the beauty of it. So the Care for Kings campaign is close to my heart, and we've been working on that. But that will be part of the journey to wherever I go, and that's what I like about the being in this position is I'm a big guy of faith. I believe that I'm here for a purpose. I'm not sure how long, but as long as I'm here, I'm just going to follow my dreams and chase it as long as I can.
Well, I will say this. I don't know what will happen, and certainly that would be awesome to see that happen. But I will say that I have to confess that it appears that either you or Henneke have borrowed each other's hairstyle. You and Henneke Meyer seem to have the exact same hairstyle. So maybe that bodes well for the future.
I've known Henneke for a very long time, and he's been my coach when I was down at SVD in, I think it was 1997. That's a very long time ago. Yeah, so Henneke, no, he's a really good guy. I think he's just bought a house down down in Great Brock River, probably 5 kilometers from where my mom lives.
He's great. I ought to try to get him on the program too. I was a huge fan. I was very happy with his selection as coach. I was also very unhappy with his unceremonious departure.
I'll sort it out for you. I'll get him. I'll get him onto your show.
That's brilliant. Because listen, here's a secret for people who enjoy Chris White Africa and appreciate the rants that I do on my Straight Voltage streams. And I do them in part just to make an emphasis, but also because people seem to enjoy them. But here's a little secret. I take my inspiration from Henneke Meyer in the coach's box when I rant.
That's brilliant.
Absolutely true. So there was now this. A couple people noticed a photograph in the background there. Part of the photo is exposed. I don't know if you want to talk about that or not. We can move on if you don't want to. But there's a lovely couple photographs behind you on the wall there, and a couple people asked about that. Okay, you don't mind talking about it then? That is beautiful.
Yeah, so those two people there, the one on the left is my mom, and the other one is my father. My father died five years ago. Mm-hmm. His name is Oom Jaap. No, Oom Jaap was quite a character. He's an incredible individual, incredible hardworking man. I think that's where I got my hard work from, just my mindset and the way I go about things. My mom is at the moment somewhere in the house. So yeah, she's just been busy. So she's been living here on the little plot close to Great Brock River, and yeah, it's incredible. My mom and dad were so entwined into my sporting career and also in my coaching career, and wherever I went, they made the effort to get there. So yeah, we are very blessed. We are 4 kids. And there's some pictures there of all the others, but yeah, it's been incredible. We are such a good sporting family. My sister was a Springbok softball player and a junior Springbok netball player. Yeah, my brother played behind Joost and Conrad Breitenbach. He played for Northern Transvaal a couple of games. So yeah, we are a really big sporting family.
That's awesome. Sorry, I'm listening to you talking about your family, and that's not what I'm chuckling about. I'm smiling about your family. That's lovely, but there's a couple questions in the chat that I'm not going to ask here. Nothing to do with you.
Welcome.
No. It's about the kneeling and the BLM thing, and we'll save that for a little bit later if we get to it. But Rudolph Kitching asked a question. He said, "So, what are your thoughts on Peter Grant as a player? I imagine."
Peter who?
Peter Grant.
Well, Peter Grant was a really top player. I as a youngster, I knew when he started playing for Province that he's going to make it big. Really, again, one of those incredible individuals. Much better. Well, he's a good rugby player, but it's such an incredible individual and a good person. Really enjoyed it. I was lucky enough to play in that Corne Krieger benefit game at Newlands against the World 15, and Peter Grant was the guy on the bench. So yeah, it was really good to see him eventually become a Bok as well. Such a great individual, and he had such a good career. So yeah, really good to just to think about what he has done. But again, like I said, a really nice guy that played a bit of rugby.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed watching him on the pitch as a fan. It was good to watch him. He really had his heart in the game, it seemed, watching him from the stands and watching him on television. DJC Kotsia says, Nas is boss. Obviously, we're talking about Nas Botha there. And
I remember as a young man, that's why I went to Loftus Versfeld to be able to go and watch Nas. He was just unbelievable. If people think there are some good kickers in world rugby, go and have a look at Nas. He was just unbelievable. If you think, and again, I think Nas he didn't know that he was so good. But if you these days, if you look at his kicking, how technically superior he was to everybody out there, he was just a freak, man. He was just a very, very talented guy, and became Springbok captain and numerous other things. But yeah, such a good guy, and that was the reason I started playing fly off and loved the game. Weekends that he took us to Loftus, which was really good. Really, that's where we grew up on weekends.
The Bruce says you still play rugby. Bruce 44. He played one game with his old boys and was broken. Listen, I still played rugby at the age of 50, so come on, it's stop making us older than we are. But the Brew, speaking of the Brew asked a very good question. He says, in your opinion, who are the top 3 rugby players currently out there right now? Well, that's a tough one. There are so many talented rugby players, but maybe I'll add a little difficulty to it. But before you answer the question, very quickly, folks, you're listening to Chris Wide Africa on the Indaba Africa channel here on a special feature on it is Friday, isn't it? Yeah, it's Friday. Lekker Vrijdag. It's a beautiful Friday. Wonderful weather outside here. I got a smile out of him for the Afrikaans there. But my special feature guest today is once again the wonderful Braam van Straaten, who's with us, former Springbok, and we're talking about a number of things. Care for Kings. We briefly talked about the Women's Rugby World Cup, which is upcoming next year. We've talked about the game itself, and we're having a bit of fun with it. But so I'm going to make the question a little bit harder for you, Braam. Let's do this. Top 3 players worldwide, and if any of them are Springboks, or all of them, then you're done. But top 3 players, and then after that, the top 3 Springboks. How's that? Let's try that.
Is that for now, current, or
well?
Or
Let's
ever?
no. Let's not do forever. This is currently. So let's. Why don't we say we start at the end of the World Cup, because this year's been a wash.
Okay, let's start at the World Cup. For me, at the moment, just very current. Nicolas Sanchez, what an incredible game he played against the All Blacks.
Oh yeah.
I just wanted to get that off my chest because he's such a good guy as well. So it was incredible to see Argentina beating the All Blacks for the first time after everything that they had gone through. So I know Mario Ledesma really, really well, and he's an incredible individual, very passionate guy, and you could see how emotional he was at the end of that game. Yeah, so I'm really stoked for them. But let's go back to your question. I think Peter Steptoe showed that he's one of the best players in world rugby, not only in his position, but as an individual. Mm-hmm. The other one that has done exceptionally well, apart from the last game within the World Cup, is Owen Farrell. He's been a household name and one of those really exuberant players that is the consistency that he goes and the confidence that he oozes in his game. He's again one of those guys. And then there's a little of a chuckle up between Bowden Barrett and Cheslin Colby, because I think Cheslin has got I just think Cheslin is one of those unbelievable. He can turn a game on his head unexpectedly. He's just one of those guys that does things out of the ordinary that you don't see from anybody else. So yeah, those are the guys that comes to mind. But I tell you now, there's some big players out that I've left out. Dwayne Vermeulen, Andre Pollard, and the list goes on. Frans Malherbe, and then you go look at the bomb squad as well that came on in the World Cup. But yeah, there's so many players, and if you have a look at what happened for Australia, not a big guy as a flank forward, just unbelievable. So yeah, I can keep on talking for quite some time, Chris. There's some incredible players, but that's just my thoughts.
No, those are great. So Peter Steph du Toit, Owen Farrell, and then a tie with Bowden Barrett, Cheslin Colby. I think that's a brilliant selection. There are so many players out there. Julian Sevilla is very popular out there for the All Blacks. He's done some amazing things as well. But no, I think that's a great selection right there to go with. But I must say, in the interest of full disclosure, I've been very happy the past month or so because the Wallabies beat the All Blacks and now the Pumas beat the All Blacks. I'm loving it. It's like McDonald's. I'm loving it. It's good stuff. Sorry, do I sound a little overjoyed to hear that the All Blacks have been beaten? Yes, I am. I love New Zealand, but I do not like the All Blacks. Oh my goodness. Anyway. And it's not animosity built out of any particular thing other than the fact that they win all the time. And I have a hard time taking a team seriously that names their team after a color or the color of their jerseys. The All Blacks, the Blues, the Reds. Come on, man. Get a real name, How about the Sables or the Cheetahs or, I don't know, the Pit Bulls, something, a real name.
I do agree with you. It was just incredible to see the euphoria of the people in the stands, the team or the part of the team that was dancing in the stands with their blue shirts, and just the joy that they've experienced. But I think we won't realize it now, but the impact it has on the people in Argentina that is going through a very, very rough time. Mm-hmm. I just think that little bit of hope that these boys created goes a long way. It's just been incredible. So I'm stoked for the Argentinian boys.
Well, I have to agree with you. I mean, look, we can give two examples. One is more poignant than the other, but both are merited. In South Africa's case, 1995 World Cup victory, unexpected, out of nowhere from most people's standpoint. Maybe not for the Bucks who played on it; they thought they could do it, but no one else thought they could do it. And it really united the country for a period of time. It actually lasted a while. Now, the euphoria over 2019 has faded quickly, unfortunately, because of the COVID-19 nonsense. But that did unite a nation, at least briefly, once again. And what I love about rugby is it unites people. Whereas, a country wins the soccer FIFA World Cup and people are tearing up the streets and knocking things down and getting in fights. But rugby really can unite people. It's pretty cool. Now, Braam, you mentioned Nicolas Sanchez. Listen, I have to say something about him, too. I found him to be an incredibly exciting player and a guy whose heart is on the field. You could just see it. I mean, even when there's no play going on, you could see the guy. I don't want to say scheming. That doesn't sound right. But he's plotting. He's thinking. His heart is really into it. I've never seen him, take it easy on the pitch. And I watch the Pumas quite a bit because, of course, they play in the America's Rugby Championship. And whenever they play the All Blacks or Wallabies, of course, I pull for them. But no, it's great to see him on the pitch. And I guess you were referring to when they beat the All Blacks that game. I haven't seen that game yet, so I just saw the score afterwards. But I found him to be a fascinating player myself.
Yeah, he scored all the points in the game. Scored a try and kicked the conversion and all the penalties from some of them were from halfway, 56 meters. The one on the angle. But for me, the biggest thing, is he showed a lot of character. I think a year ago, he got dropped for another fly. I can't remember his name now, but it just shows you what a quality individual he is. With some adversity, he comes through and plays an integral role to beat the All Blacks the first time ever. And that for me shows your true character. Even when you're down and out, that's when you stand up and show what you're all about. And that is what life is all about. So some people, and I've seen a little video about a girl, I'm not sure, I think in the UK today, that was quite emotional about. She's an entrepreneur, and she was quite sad about how this whole thing unfolded about COVID. But I want to tell, and hopefully she's maybe sees this. I want to tell there's always hope. There's always hope. Doesn't matter in what situation it is. There's always hope. Don't ever forget that. And for me, what Nicolas Sanchez has done from last year to this year is just incredible. So hats off to him.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Agree with you entirely there. That's well said. There is one thing here where there is no hope, and let me share this. Marauder 8310 says, "What have the All Blacks got in common with the 3-pin plug? Both are useless in Wales." Well said. Brilliant, Marauder. Hey, so let me, Braam, I don't want to keep you all day, but, I actually love to keep you all day, but you've got things to do. But I did want to ask this question here. We talked previously about, is there some sort of thing for former Springboks? Do they do anything? Does Cesaro have anything? And apparently there isn't. Maybe it's time for someone to form a Springbok Players Association or something like that, at least for networking and contact and something beyond that. Maybe even, get some sponsorship for it or sponsor golf tournaments and raise some funds, because I'm sure that there are former Springboks who from time to time fall on hard times, and we don't want to see people suffering who've served the country in the green and gold. Thoughts?
Yes. I'm actually smiling when you're saying this, because that's been that's been our thought pattern. We started off with the Care for Kings campaign, and this might get a lot bigger than we ever thought, a lot bigger than we can imagine, because for the Care for Kings campaign will spill over into Care for the Game, and where we want to make sure that what happened to us never happens to any other code in South Africa. And growing that a little bit further, we want to make sure that we can look after our old icons, Springbok rugby players, cricketers, the Protea players. So we want to make sure if somebody needs a helping hand, we will be able to assist. And there's some big activations while we're talking. Some big activations are happening within the Care for Kings campaign that will be able to assist these guys going forward. like I said, I can't say too much at the moment, but keep looking at the Care for Kings social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and also on Instagram. There will be some activations in the near future, and it's incredible how these things come around with the Care for Kings campaign. It's drawn so much energy and so many good-hearted people together. So we can definitely make a difference in these people's lives in the near future.
Well, I was going to say I'd love to get involved and help with that, but it sounds like it's underway, so I'd be superfluous. But it'd be great to see that sort of thing. I mean, we have that here. I had Blaine Scully on the channel yesterday, former USA Eagle captain, played for Leicester and also for the Cardiff Blues. But Blaine is one of the co-founders of the I forget the exact name of, but essentially it's like the USA Rugby Players Association. Those who played for the national side, so that they have some kind of players association to deal with things and help. So it's happened here a couple years ago in the U.S. and we see this in major sports like in the National Football League where they have this sort of players association so that it helps people out. And it's because back in the day in professional sport, players got paid virtually nothing and got injured a lot, and then had medical bills after they left clubs and had a difficult time dealing with it. And so that was a reason for creating it. But I think it's also a valuable tool for camaraderie. I mean, if you've been a Springbok, if you've donned that jersey, if you put that blazer on, you're in a special, unique, small club. I mean, we're only talking about 1,000 people that have ever done this for the Springboks alone. Now, if you throw in the Proteas and you add some other things in there, it's a larger group of people, but it's still a very small, select group of people, and they've worn the national colors, and they ought to have a chance to share things with each other and someone help them out in a time of need. That's just kind of my thoughts on it, Braam.
I do agree with you, Chris. So for me, the big thing is COVID has leveled the playing ground for everybody. Everybody has taken a knock in some way. And just to see how people that actually fought together quite a long time ago get back onto the same path, same level, and all of a sudden they've experienced the same things. And all of a sudden, it brings us together as human beings. I always say that we are all equal. Doesn't matter who we are or who do we think we are. We are all equal in front of God. So that for me is plain simple in plain English. But now all of a sudden people are starting to engage and say, you know what, I might be a proud individual, but I've took a knock as well, and I'm prepared to say that because and that's what we like. We want people to come out of the woodwork. If things are tough, we want to know about it because maybe we can help you. And that's what we want to do with the Care for Kings and Care for the Game campaign that we will launch eventually. And that for me, this is not just a Care for Kings campaign. This is a legacy project for the next 50 years or 100 years. I don't care how long it takes. I will throw all the energy I have in to be able to assist these guys. That is like when I was a youngster, there were some incredible individuals like the icons of cricket, Graham Pollock, these guys. So we want to make sure that we can have some leverage somewhere to be able to assist them to have a comfortable life after sport.
No, that's a fantastic approach. So I think there's a couple things here. GJC Kotsia says, please, how will he approach Farrell? I missed your comment. I couldn't find it there. Are you talking about Owen Farrell or because there's only one L there? Please ask your question again, DJC. And the Bruce says, has Braam met with Etzebeth? Naughty buggers, those brothers.
I know Etzebeth, and he's been one of the guys that has come on board and did a video for us right in the beginning when we started Care for Kings, when the memorabilia auction. So I tell you now, he's a big guy, but he's got a bigger heart than anybody. He's just a good individual, tough as nails. And I won't get into a UFC octagon with him, but it just shows you. These people off the field, they are normal human beings that really care about their camaraderie within the game, but also care about the people within the game, which is incredible.
DJT, yes, Owen Farrell, but I didn't understand your question. You said, how will he approach Owen Farrell? You got to ask your question again. I'm sorry, please. Somehow we missed that. But Info Swiss Oil says we have a sporting group here called the X Pro, and they support X sports people from all sports. Oh, I'm unfamiliar with that. I've not heard of that before. So that's a news one on me. Let me see. when it comes to other sports, I guess let's broach this topic then, because you said it was okay. So a lot of people are really angry at the cricket about the Proteas and over this Black Lives Matter support, and some people are very angry at Sia Khaleesi for comments that he made. It's politics coming into the game, but while I detest politics in the game, we have to be honest. I mean, politics has always played a role in the game, even if it wasn't the athletes involved. I mean, look, at the Springboks were banned from international competition for a long period of time. And so whether we like it or not, the United States boycotted the Olympics. The Soviets boycotted our Olympics, which is unfortunate. But unfortunately, politics does find its way into sport. I guess the question is whether athletes should be involved in it. And my view is that they shouldn't be, but that's a personal view. That doesn't make me right. I don't know how deeply you might want to tread or not tread into this topic. It's a minefield. So I don't know if you want to get into it, Braam, but you did say it was okay to raise it. So.
Yeah, from my point of view, as an Afrikaans, we've got a word. It's a tamaleki. That means it's a very sticky spot to be in with. So yeah, for me, I don't have any comments on it. For me, I live my life as a true individual. I'm very honest. I'm a guy of principle. So that's what I fought for, and I'm a big Christian. So yeah, I think, Chris, for me to elaborate on that, well, it's a little bit outside my not my comfort zone, but it's just outside my ballpark at the moment. I don't know too much about it because I'm so ingrained in my own things and don't worry too much about other things.
No, I think that's a great response. I agree with you there. What's this? Daughter just came and gave me a big hug and went, Uncle Santa. I'm being known as St. Nicholas now by kids. And it's actually, when I do the rants, because I do them on the live streams, I do probably one per show now. I just, in long, not always, but sometimes. But people keep saying, my children came and said, why is Santa so angry? So I got to be careful about that one. But so just really quickly here, a lot of people are suddenly mentioning, I'm not sure why Chester Williams, but, for the Rugby World Cup, I was really excited for so many reasons. I was going to see Talon Stanford. He was going to introduce me to Joel Stransky, which he did. That was brilliant. I really enjoyed that. See the Box play, see the Eagles play, go to Japan. It was all exciting. But one of the things I was excited about was Chester Williams was going there, and he launched a beer brand. And I was so looking forward to meeting Chester at the Rugby World Cup. And right on the eve of leaving, he passed away. I felt so cheated. I'm sure his family feels a lot more cheated than I did, but I felt so cheated. He was such an I've never met the guy, but I've talked to people. And, we're always saying nice things about people, but I've heard that he was a really great guy and pretty amazing guy. And he played at an interesting time. He took a lot of grief from a lot of people outside the game. But he took those knocks and kept going, and I was really looking forward to sharing a beer with him. And I never did find his beer because they did sell it in Japan. Talon Stanford found it, but I never found it.
Yeah, Chester was an incredible guy. He was one of the main guys. We call it in Afrikaans a baanbreker. So that means he was the leader of the pack to be able to get people to actually understand that there's a lot of talent in South Africa. And for me, he was a good guy. He was humble. He was incredible. He was an incredible player as well. I've played so many times against him when we played against Province, and he was on fire every time. So yeah, a great individual, but a great player. And it was sad to see him pass. And it was quite funny for me. The number of that 95 World Cup, how many number of them has passed away already. And it's so sad because I think having the legacy of being a World Cup winner, you want to live your life for a long time. So it's not just for people to remember that, but for you to really enjoy it. And he was taken too early.
Yeah, he was. He used Van der Westhuizen and others on the team that just gone well before their time. Really, really sad to see. Now, I felt cheated. Obviously not by Chester. He had no role in it, but by fate. I really felt cheated because I really look forward to meeting him. It was going to be exciting and to have a beer, whether it was good or not. I didn't really care whether the beer was good or not, but just to have his brew there, and it would have been really awesome. That was the one disappointment for the World Cup, but I mean that was beyond all of our control, and I'm sure a lot of people were. But again, taken before his time. Croy Thompson, who's from the Caribbean, and says, Chris, with COVID setting all the rugby on break, do you think the Bucks could actually use the experience of the isolation period to use this to their advantage? I'm going to answer it, and then let's get Braam's take on it. No, I don't. I don't. I'm okay. I'm not in South African rugby, so when I criticize Saru, I don't have to worry about anyone in Saru being angry with me. But I don't think that they've used the time particularly well. I don't think the authorities in South Africa use the time particularly well. And I honestly think that, by and large, the Springboks are further behind than other national sides. They're not participating in the Rugby Championship, which is now renamed the Tri-Nations, which really irritates me because it's not the Tri-Nations. The Tri-Nations includes the Springboks, not the Pumas. So no thank you, but they've called it Tri-Nations. I have a bone to pick with that. We also have Springboks players spread all around the world like they normally are, but they're unable to come back to South Africa and train as a team, even on short notice, because of all these COVID restrictions. So I think that the Springboks are in worse shape than they should be, and I think they're going to find themselves at a disadvantage when they finally get back on the pitch. Braam, any thoughts on that?
I couldn't have said it better. It was brilliant. I think if I try, I would mess it up. So now I'm echoing what you're saying there, Chris. It was absolutely superb.
Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you. Well, maybe when Koba's Visa is tired of broadcasting, I can fill in for him.
Exactly. No, brilliant. No, definitely. Can I put my hand up for you to? I'll second that, definitely.
Well, the one thing I'll never be able to do is I'll never be able to replace what's his name? Hugh Blom. I get his name wrong. You know who I'm talking about.
Hugh Bladen.
Hugh Bladen. Yeah, Hugh Bladen. Oh, my God. The guy's just a legend. But I have it on good authority that he's pissed every time he's broadcasting. He's completely schnockered.
I think he's a very happy individual. But I've met him so many times, and he's always been the same. He's just such a good guy. And those are like I said, those are the kind of people that we would love to get as our Care for Kings ambassadors, people that has made a massive dent within the game. And we can't let those heroes, those individuals or the icons of the game. We want to make sure that we keep them involved, and make sure that people understand that these guys has left a legacy. If you think about Hugh Bladen, you can only, it's just unbelievable, I tell you.
No, absolutely. I'm with you on that. And I have to be honest with you, the first time I ever saw a rugby game in South Africa broadcast, who was on there commenting but Hugh Bladen. And I just like, whoa, this guy is awesome. He's amazing. It's just something else. Unbelievable. You know, he's something else. I got to say it. He's that voice is so distinctive. You know it instantly. You absolutely know it instantly. It's just really something else. I'm actually glad that the first time I ever got to listen to a game, he was on there. It was just amazing stuff. So cool beans. Well, it looks like we're losing light there on your end there, Braam.
Sorry. I used my phone as a modem, and it just went. I just got a phone call. So yeah, no, sorry about that.
No, that's all right. My apologies. What's this? Croy says, I believe Victor Matfield was also two Rugby World Cup. No. Victor only got one Rugby World Cup. He won in 2007. In 2015, they didn't win it. In 2011, they didn't win it. He came back in 2015 out of retirement to play, which was pretty cool, watching Victor Matfield come out of retirement and go play in the World Cup. I really enjoyed that. But no, he's only won World Cup, one World Cup. We did have a two-time winner on the team this year, though. Franz Sten, I believe it was, who was on the 2007 team and was again on the 2019 team, which is pretty awesome. That's got to be a pretty awesome experience to win it twice. Once is amazing, but twice, gosh.
Yeah, I think France has just showed what an incredible rugby player he is. He's been very talented from a very young age, and he's fitting to that Springbok mold quite nicely. Really tough bugger, if I can say that. With an incredible boot, but like I said, and I think he's still got a massive part to play going forward. Just because he's so experienced, you can't get away from experience. Experience makes a big difference. So yeah, it will be sad when he eventually hang up his boots, because he was a legend in his own lifetime.
Well, and I agree absolutely 100% with you there on that one. But I've got to add this too. You know, when you talk about things that make a difference, I've always told people one thing about rugby is you can have all the talent in the world and have a losing side. You can have a team that can disappoint, and not to pick on Stuart Lancaster. I'm not saying he wasn't the right coach, but a coaching change can make all the difference in a world. A coach can make all the difference. I mean, look at England and how they crashed out in the 2015 World Cup, in which people expected them to wind up in the final because it was a home pitch and they were going to do well, and they did not perform well in that World Cup. And nothing against Stuart Lancaster, who I know, and so I'm not attacking him. No infer that, please. But Eddie Jones comes in there, and it's a completely different story. From his approach is different, and look at them just go like gangbusters, tying the record for consecutive wins in a row. And then I just have to say, I mean, look at the Springboks, not to pick on the previous coach, not to pick on Alistair, but he was dealing with a lot of things from sorrow as part of what was going on. But Rossi came in, and as I argue for the 2019 World Cup, I don't think that all of the best potential Springboks were picked for each position, but I cannot argue even for a microsecond with the selection that Rossi made for a team. He built a team out of talented players and the right players at the right place at the right time, and I think he milked the best talent out of so many players. And look what we got. We got a Rugby World Cup championship out of it. So I think coaches can make an incredible difference. You were also a coach in rugby, and I'm going to hope that you second my thoughts on that and think that coaches make a big difference.
I do believe so. But again, just coming back, I've known Stuart Lancaster from my Leeds days. So he was the academy coach when I was at Leeds. And I think it was just too early for him. He became a really good coach, and now he's the director of rugby at Leinster. And if you have a look at Leinster, how well they've done in the last couple of years with him at the helm. So sometimes you go through certain cycles, you don't get the rub of the green, a little bit of luck here, a little bit of luck there. But yeah, I think he was a good guy. Talking about the other coaches, Alistair had a number of things against him. I think it was a group of players that got to the end of their careers that wanted a swan song to win that 2011 World Cup in New Zealand. That didn't go according to plan, as they got beaten by Australia in that quarterfinal. But yeah, a coach makes a massive difference. I've just heard some podcasts, and it's a fine balance. You need to understand when you're a coach and when you're a friend and when you're a dad. So those are the things that we need to understand as coaches. But yeah, I've loved every minute of it. It's sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it goes against you, and those instances makes you either makes you or breaks you, and that those are the big things that we had to talk about.
If you're watching the Zoom there while you were chatting, Braam, that was a salute. Someone just became a member on my site, a paying member. So I always offer salute as a sign of respect. So that's what that was. Yeah. Well,
I just want to try and get a light on here because it becomes quite dark. Or maybe I'll just walk outside.
Be careful. It is South Africa.
Yeah, but I think yeah, there's a little bit better. That's fine.
Okay, good. Yeah, that is a little better. Well, let's listen. It's been an hour and a half. You've been a fantastic guest once again. But before we close out, I do want to remind folks that the Care for Kings auction is ongoing. It's a worthwhile cause to help out the staff and players who played for the Southern Kings. Hopefully, maybe they'll rise like a phoenix again too at some point. Maybe we'll see if that franchise will come back. That would be awesome to see. And not that I was ever a supporter or fan for the Southern Kings, but if they ever did come back, I think I might be a supporter now, especially since I have a Kings jersey en route. So, but if they ever come back, so listen, folks, check out Hendo, if you could put in the link again, or Hank, the link for careforkings.co.za. Put that in there so people can go find it. Sign up for the auction, and you can bid on things. Some of the Kings memorabilia is still coming up, but the wine is there now. You want to get that bottle of Shiraz, Cape Shiraz, that has Peter Steph Dutoit's name on it and signature. You better hurry, because it might be a bid from Chris Wyatt for that bottle of wine. So let's. I want to wrap up as usual, but give you a chance to share what you'd like here. And again, open invitation anytime. You're welcome back on the channel, Braam, if you'd like to come on and maybe we talk about Care for Kings, or if any other developments take place, or just want to have a braai without anything cooking. We'll just kind of sit here like we're having a braai. It's really a conversation when you come on my channel. So I'd love to have you back on. But any final thoughts? And of course, but I'm going to put you on the spot now, because you did say you get Henneke Meyer on my channel. So now I'm looking forward to that. But any comments?
With a braai, there's always a beer, so we have to have beers as well. We can't fake a braai. We can maybe fake a braai, but we can't fake a beer. Hey?
Okay, but I have to share with you. This is that I get a lot of grief. I've had alcohol on the channel one time. We had a Friday evening. We relaxed, and no, it's not a problem with alcohol, but I got a lot of grief from South Africans because I have what's called schussbier, and a schussbier is a German thing in which you mix Coke with beer, and they're just horrified by that. They said that's just out of bounds, and I got a lot of grief. And some of my longtime viewers still remember that from back in like May, I think it was April and May, and they give me grief about it all the time. But if I have to, I'll just drink it without the Coke in it because I'm drinking good quality German Weizen. I'm a bit of a beer snob. In Southern Africa, I refuse to drink anything other than Windhoek Lager because it's brewed by the German Reinheitsgebot. But yeah, no, we can drink a beer. Absolutely. We'll do that next time. That sounds like it'll be fun. But so any thoughts you can leave us with here? Maybe something about Care for Kings or just some, you're a really hopeful guy and it's always nice to hear from you. So maybe just some good thoughts for folks because, COVID's kicking people's bums and we're going to get past this at some point. Just hang in there, right?
Yeah, definitely. The one thing that I've realized, we can do a lot more when we hustle. We need to be busy. We need to make sure we engage with people all the time. And for me, that has been my saving grace. I haven't earned a salary for the last couple of months, but you know what? It's just incredible to see how much energy I have. When I get up in the morning, I really want to make a difference, and that's why I'm getting emotional because I never thought that I would be able to do this, and I got put into this situation by chance, and all of a sudden I'm rising to the occasion. So sometimes there's a lot more to it. For you as an individual to rise to, because like I said before, I think I'm a little bit hard-nosed. If people tell me things can't be done, I'll make sure that I get it done, and that's the big thing for me. So there's never a hopeless situation, and there's always a solution to a problem. So whenever you get to that point where you're stuck, hey, just dig deep, get busy, and make things happen.
Well, Braam, you sound like some of my mates in the U.S. Army there. That's the right approach to life. That's what we do. You can't feel sorry for yourself. You can't look around and look at your circumstances. Sometimes the conditions around you just suck, but you got to make it happen. You got to make it happen. So pull yourself up by your bootstraps, although apparently Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says you can't do that, but you can in fact do that. She doesn't know there used to be straps inside of boots. You actually pull that up. Anyway, but yeah, so that's a brilliant closing comments there, Braam. Welcome back on the channel anytime. In fact, I will, from you, entertain request. Hey, if you call up and say, hey, Chris, can I come on this time? If you call me and it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you want me to come on and I'm available, I will make myself available at 3 a.m. for you to get you on the channel. It's a distinct pleasure as always, Braam van Straaten. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes, Chris, thanks a lot. And God bless to everybody that listened and to yourself. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you.
All right, brilliant, folks. I'm going to say goodbye to Braam and I'll wrap up the show right there. So thanks a lot. I'll let you drop off. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's Braam van Straaten as he drops off the channel right there. My guest once again here on Chris Wyatt Africa. I want to thank him for coming on the channel. Looks like he's had a little trouble getting out of the stream. Let me help him. Oh, there he goes. Okay, great. So, folks, I hope you enjoyed this stream. It was brilliant from my perspective. I really enjoyed it. And thank you for sticking with us here on a Lekker Lekker Vrijdag. And in this case, in South Africa and Botswana, it's a Lekker Lekker Vrijdag. And I hope you've enjoyed this conversation with Braam van Straaten. Quite a good oak there, a really good guy who's trying to do his best. And yeah, I think a lot of us didn't realize that. Braam is also without a salary. He's also not drawing a salary right now. And look at this. He hasn't looked at and said, look at this pile of lemons. He's making lemonade out of those lemons. And so bravo to Braam van Straaten and all the folks who are trying to make Care for Kings work. And also to all the Springboks who, we ran through that list of people, Peter Steph du Toit, Herschel Yankees, Kobus Visa, all these former players and current players who are helping out with the wine donations and signing things to raise money for Care for Kings. It's a worthwhile cause to help out players. We don't have this opportunity to help out a lot of people whose jobs were evaporated by COVID and the restrictions, but this is one case where you can help out. And these are some household names in many cases where you can help people out from the Southern Kings, and also names that aren't household names, those who work on the staff there. So thanks a lot, folks. I do appreciate you coming on here. Share this stream with your friends, your family. If you want, you're welcome to share it on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or any social media where you know folks. Braam is a fantastic guest and quite a good person. So I really enjoyed this one once again. And as you see here in Chris White Africa, it's less an interview and more of a conversation so that people get to know those people around the world who are of interest, particularly those who have an affiliation with Africa. And that's really what it's all about. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. I'll be back in a couple of hours. Excuse me, in which time exactly an hour and 55 minutes, and I will have Dasha Pruitt, the Republican conservative Russian immigrant, political refugee from the Soviet Union who came here at the age of 10, grew up in the U.S., and ran for Congress this year in southeastern corner of Pennsylvania. And it looks like she's going to lose that, but she is not happy with the results and contesting it. So we'll be talking in about 2 hours about the election results in Pennsylvania, what's been happening, what's not been happening, and we'll have Dasha on. She's quite passionate, so I ask you to come back and check that out in a couple hours. Should be an interesting stream. And for those curious about videos about Brockenfeld today, I will be producing videos. I downloaded over a gigabyte of primary source video footage from folks who were there with Boer de Guillaume. And so these were folks away from the fracas, so there probably won't be much there that will be of interest to folks, but I'll take a look at that and I'll also be producing, with the videos I already received, some analysis that will be coming out over the next couple of days about events that unfolded at Brockenfeld today. All right, folks, thank you. By the way, Brockenfeld is where Cheslin Colby went to school, I understand. So there you go. And I am wearing a rugby jersey as per the norm here. And this is the 2020 Utah Warriors Major League Rugby shirt from Paladin, who makes really good quality rugby jerseys. Anyway, folks, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the new subscriber. We got our new member, plus the subscribers who signed up. Thank you so much for that. And for your questions and comments. And I apologize if I didn't get to all of them. I got to most of them. So thank you guys for that. It was a great pleasure having you all here joining us today. Have a good day and enjoy your weekend. Have yourself a braai. Maybe have a beer as long as you're not driving. No drinking, no driving. Be responsible, folks, and be careful out there. It's a dangerous world. And take care of yourself and your loved ones. And thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you here on Chris White Africa, the Indaba Africa channel, in about 2 hours. Take care.